who are dedicated and focused on Southeast Asia as a venture capitalist firm. And do you know how you can tell if someone's a venture capitalist? He wears 2 watches, and his notes are on his phone. So that's what I'm going to do. I love Malaysia. I've been coming to Malaysia for 20 years. I come from a small country down south. First 10 years I've been here, I actually started the Asian Food Channel. Hopefully you still watch it on Astro. I operated that for 10 years. I know what Malaysia is as a market, intuitively, both as an operator, an entrepreneur, and now as an investor. As you can see, my team, which I have built with 2 outstanding partners, 40 people strong, 6 offices now with Malaysia across every single country in Southeast Asia. And of course, we started in Singapore. We focused on Indonesia 10 years ago. We were fortunate enough to be the first investor into Gojek. I'll talk about that more. But I always tell the people, and I always tell my team, the secret to being successful is to find a conviction, an unreasonable conviction, and make sure that's correct. Right? We invested in Indonesia back 10 years ago. Other than the other Indonesian VC funds, we were the only people crazy enough to do that. So today, I'm telling you, I'm all in to Malaysia. And thank you very much. We have a problem, though. Thank you very much. I like this energy. Right, come on, let's go. The problem is I have to convince my partners, because if it was just Hian running the firm, yeah, of course I'd be here. So when I came back 12 months ago, when Minister Rafizi came with MX to Singapore and said, hey, pay attention to Malaysia. I came up, I did 11 meetings in one day, and I went back to my partners and I said, hey, I think something's happening. And they said, prove it. And so we presented a paper internally. I know a lot of people think that I take all the decisions because I'm loud, but actually that's not true. I subject myself to the tyranny of the firm because I think that's the right way to make investment decisions. And so this slide shows you our capabilities, and is perhaps only just to tell you why you should believe that we've done our homework, and we think it's time now for Malaysia. And I've communicated that to all your decision makers. I've shouted out in LinkedIn. I even wrote something in Star newspaper. We shall see that later. So why Malaysia? Why Malaysia? Solid middle-class economy, GDP 3 times bigger than most of the other regions. Thailand double, Singapore doesn't count. English-speaking workforce. You don't have to be a remote person from Ukraine doing AI, hanging out in Bali, and then having your team disparate. You could actually build a team of people here, right? Net exporter of goods and services. This country actually has very strong fundamentals. So why not, right? I think the challenges that we're facing now in Malaysia are as follows. Number one, we've done, I say we, I feel like I'm Malaysian. Okay, now we have really increased FDI significantly. And I think foreign direct investment remains the lifeblood of many, many countries, including Singapore and all the other places. We need to maintain that. Semiconductors have done very well, but I'm going to give you another places. We shouldn't be ignoring all the other sectors. And as a venture capitalist, boy, are we going to focus on that. And create more white-collar jobs, because to my first point, I think ASEAN countries have had, to a certain extent, over-reliance on tourism as a service economy, right? So Malaysia is sort of 23% manufacturing. Interestingly, Thailand's in the 30s, right? But a lot of the service economy in Malaysia is also tourism. COVID showed us we need to diversify. We need to create white-collar jobs. We've heard a lot from all the other speakers. I won't reply to any of those. Let's just say this is true. So I came up with the case for Malaysia, right? And so now I will go into some granularity about what is needed to be done. When we came 12 months ago, we have our own proprietary database that tracks 30,000 companies across the whole of Southeast Asia. We pulled all the Malaysian companies. Here's your track record, Malaysia. 178 deals done in the last 2.5 years. 50 deals at Series A. That's okay. But 15 deals ready to go to big time. I think that should be around 25. Series A to B mortality onward should be about 50%. Series C to Series A could be about 20 to 30%. We think that we need more specialist Series A funds that really work very closely. I think Openspace is one of a few VC funds that do that. We run a small, concentrated portfolio, high touch, high conviction. We mentor with people. We drive people into the hot zone where more investors come in. The good news, and I'll say no more, it's already there, and I think in the next 10 months we could harvest some interesting opportunities. And we've been doing that and looking at things over the past 12 months. We don't do that many deals, so you might not see us always on the headlines. But when we do it very meaningfully. So I've got a couple of companies to point out on that one. Number two, we have to focus on semiconductors. Now, I had a long speech about this, but I don't need to talk about it anymore because everyone knows about this. However, I would say one thing. You know, foreign direct investment through multinationals is important. How about multinational startups like Tenstorrent? You haven't heard of Tenstorrent? I'll tell you who he is later. Partnering with Malaysian companies. This is the guy who runs Tenstorrent. The team is here on the ground. His name is Jim Keller. If anyone remembers the x86 instruction set, he's the co-author. He and Keith Witek, who is here right now, Keith is here. They were the guys who did the first self-driving car for Elon Musk. That's how good they are, and he also likes to do a lot of shit talking, as you can see. But it is our job as a venture capitalist to pick up the phone, right? They're based in California. I said, come to Malaysia. And Keith, I just had lunch with him, said, I am surprised. And I said, yes, perhaps you should listen to Hian more often when there is an opportunity. We need to shout more about ASEAN. We need to shout more about Malaysia. Because the reality is, you have to hustle. When Jim was in the office, yes, I cooked pizzas in the office. I cooked him a pizza. That's how he remembers me. Please laugh. Thank you. This is what we do. You got to be asymmetric. As a venture capitalist, you got to be asymmetric as an entrepreneur. And what they should do in Malaysia, because they have open source architecture, RISC-V open source. It's partnered with Malaysian semiconductor IC design chips to create, not, you know, on the right, this guy in the leather jacket with $40,000 chips, but chips at the back of a television that's $40. Because the Taiwanese, by the way, do this very well. Now, if I can get AI technology that is very modular, which is what Tenstorrent does, into a Malaysian ASIC chip designer, boy, am I going to invest in that company because when it hits Bursa Malaysia, I'm going to do very well. You see, the key thing about AI is not whether the computer can talk. It's whether that chip behind your TV that listens to you doesn't consume more power than the bloody screen in the first place. Sorry, I said a few words, got a bit excited. That's what Malaysia can do. And I think that's why the future is here, and the case for Malaysia is strong. So yes, we can talk about semiconductors, but I'm reminded by my fellow colleagues over at Khazanah to say, let's not forget about the other sectors. You know, Malaysia has got one of the deepest agri-tech sectors. Agri-tech is also very important for your economy. VC should be focusing on that. So 4 or 5 years ago, we invested in a very small company called Nutrition Technologies. Does black soldier fly larvae. It converts palm oil as well as food waste into very ESG, very low carbon footprint protein. And this is actually happening. You see how big that operation in Johor Bahru. And Tom over there, who's the CEO, if you want to know how it works, he's here. Tom did not grow up in Malaysia. He's British. He's decided to move here. And he's transferring all these skills to the Malaysian workforce, a brand new capability. World-leading consultants, which I cannot disclose, have just confirmed that they are the lowest cost producer of this kind of protein in the world. And there are many other larger startups with much more capital, and little old Nutrition Technologies in Malaysia is showing to the world that it can be done. Round of applause? Round of applause. So there you go. It's not just this. It's not just this. A lot more places. We've got, of course, a bright future ahead. Who's our team? We already have a team on the ground. Azli, he also is the managing director at Siemens Energy, advisor. Matt and Perrine are here on the ground. We're here on the ground. If you want to know more, contact us. I pick up my emails. I pick up my LinkedIn. Hian@openspace.vc, please. If it takes a long time to reply, it's okay. I even wrote about this last year in the Star newspaper. I will continue to shout more about it. You can follow me on Instagram, Hian Can Cook. You can download our reports at Openspace VC. Go to our news and reports. Our Malaysian perspective is there. We have a coalesce index with many, many research reports. And actually, because I used to run a media company on the side with Vishal Harnal, who is a fellow Malaysian at 500 Global, and another gentleman called Michael Blakey, we do a podcast called The Unreasonable Podcast. It's on Spotify, Google Unreasonable. And the last episode is actually quite pertinent. You should check it out. I say no more. Thank you very much for your time. I'm really excited. I haven't seen this much of dynamism in Malaysia. We are all in. That's our case for Malaysia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Hian, for your charismatic presentation and your belief in our Malaysian market as well.